Good evening, my dearly departed friends, or should I say, undeparted. It's me, your ever-humorous gravedigger, Mortimer Nightshade. Today, I've unearthed a tale from the depths of Willowbrook that's sure to rot your socks off. It's a story about a man named Harry, and if you think you've seen some lazy folks lounging around your crypt, he makes couch potatoes look like marathon runners. So buckle your coffins, folks, and let's dive into a tale of sloth, deception, and the inevitable decay that follows. In the sleepy town of Willowbrook, there lived a lazy man named Harry. Harry was a large, passive man who had lived so little that he often went unnoticed by the people around him. He was notorious for his lack of ambition and relied heavily on his elderly mother, Margaret, for support. She cooked his meals, did his laundry, and provided him with a place to live. Day after day, Harry would lounge on the couch, indulging in his favorite television shows while his mother took care of everything. One fateful morning, Harry awoke to a haunting silence. He walked into his mother's room and found her lying peacefully in her bed, having passed away in her sleep. Instead of feeling grief and remorse for his mother, he fixated on one thing: his mother's social security checks. The idea of living off her funds without having to lift a finger enticed him beyond measure. Weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. Harry lived comfortably, siphoning his deceased mother's social security checks without a care in the world. For the first time, Harry was living on his own, but without his mother to pick up after him. Her once beautiful home became a grotesque monument to negligence. Dirty laundry was left chaotically throughout the house. Dishes would overflow, reeking of spoiled food. His mother's corpse, having rotted away years ago, sank into her once vibrant bed, having caused a horrid stench through the house that only a neglectful man like Harry could stand. The only thing that mattered to him was his world within the purposeless glow of the television. As Harry stared into the light, he marveled at his cleverness, believing he had outsmarted everyone. However, fate had a different plan in store for him. One sunny afternoon, a local news crew arrived at Harry's doorstep with balloons and a cheerful demeanor. Unbeknownst to Harry, they had come to celebrate his mother's birthday, as she was the oldest person in the state. The crew had planned to interview her and capture the heartwarming moment for the community to see. As the news crew entered the house, Harry's heart sank deep into his chest. The horrid stench engulfed the crew, causing them to take a step back as their demeanor faded. Panic surged through Harry's veins, desperate to maintain the illusion. He tried to convince the crew that his mother was not feeling well and couldn't be disturbed. However, the persistent reporters insisted on seeing her as their suspicions grew. Reluctantly, Harry led them to his mother's room, desperately trying to delay the inevitable, quickly mumbling incoherent excuses as he shuffled his feet. The cameraman's lights illuminated the once pitch-black hallway, revealing years of trash and a pale, soiled Harry. He slowly opened the door as the crew entered the room. The once deafening silence was turned into gasps of terror. As Margaret's corpse rotted by the years of neglect before their eyes, the truth was laid bare before them, and Harry's deceit was exposed. The news crew, shocked and appalled, immediately alerted the authorities. Within hours, Harry found himself in handcuffs, escorted out of the house he'd grown so accustomed to mooching off. The town was astounded by the revelation, unable to comprehend the depths of his deceit and callousness. Harry's actions had not only betrayed his mother's memory, but also the entire community that had held her in high regard. In the courtroom, Harry faced the consequences of his actions. The judge, incensed by his heartless manipulation, handed down a sentence that reflected the severity of his crime. Harry was to spend the next decade behind bars, contemplating the cruelty of his actions and the pain he had caused. As the years passed, the town slowly healed from the shock of Harry's betrayal. Margaret's memory lived on, not as the oldest person in the state, but as a symbol of resilience and love. As for Harry, he spent his time sitting in his cell waiting for the guard to slide the next tray of food from under the door. Prison was easy for Harry. He was good at being unnoticed by the other prisoners. So unnoticed even the food stopped coming. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Harry, dead, laid in his bunk, while the town of Willowbrook moved on without a care in the world. Well, wasn't that a grave situation for Harry? Looks like he really dug himself into a hole this time. Anyway, folks, remember this. While you might get away with being lazy in life, there's always a price to pay in the end. And sometimes, it's a grave one. Join me next time, my ghoulish guests, for another episode of Cemetery Tales. Until then, keep your tombs tidy and your skeletons, well, in the closet. Before you dig your way out, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. And if you're still craving a dose of the dreadful, why not check out another ghastly episode from Cemetery Tales?